Good afternoon, fantasy managers. This is Devo 1099 with Fantasy Football Backers coming at you for Game Week 24. We're going to do things a little bit differently this week. We are going to discuss a new site that we're covering called Picklive. Picklive.com is one match fantasy football. You can watch a match on TV, have your screen with Picklive, and your players going alongside it. It's a perfect combination. Really basic, really easy game. The scoring is unique. They're using Opta for their statistics, and goals are worth 40 points. Assists are 10 points. Shots on goal are 8. Shots that miss the target are 5 points. Completed passes are a big factor. Those are 1 point each, and then you can lose points for bad passes, yellow cards, red cards, similar to some other formats. But you're selecting 5 players. There's no budget. You can have any 5 players from the match that you want, as long as you select 1 player from each team. You could have 4 on one side if you think that team is going to do much better. So interesting strategy, definitely a fun, addictive game. Picklive is really a good time, and a great complement to the match that you're watching on TV. So we're going to highlight 5 matches that are going to be on in the UK this weekend. Those are Arsenal and Tottenham at White Hart Lane, Everton and Liverpool in the Merseyside Derby, Newcastle and Stoke, Burnley and West Brom, and West Ham and Manchester United. We're going to start with the early game on Saturday, and that is the North London Derby, Tottenham and Arsenal. With Picklive, as I mentioned, passes completed are certainly a consistent and a large portion of the scoring. So you're going to want to look at the type of players that are going to be holding onto the ball a good amount. And then, if you can get players that also are going to be in the attack that have a chance to score goals, to get assists, to get some shots, those are going to be the players that you're going to want to target. So with Tottenham, we like Christian Eriksen, of course, Harry Kane, of course. Those guys are in fantastic form. They fit the Picklive scoring perfectly. Definitely guys that we will take to put in our side this weekend. Musa Dembele is a surprisingly solid Picklive player. If he makes the starting 11, he's someone to consider. Defenders Jan Vertonghen and Kyle Walker are also piling up the completed passes. They'll get a couple tackles. They might take a shot. Those are guys to look at. On the Arsenal side, you've got Santi Cazorla, who has just been incredible this year and is a perfect fit for the Picklive scoring. If Alexis Sanchez returns from the hamstring injury, which I believe he will, he's a great option because he's he's able to score you points in a number of different ways. Mesut Ozil is back. He's been playing very well. He got a goal and an assist last match and looked like a really prominent part of the Arsenal attack. If he is in the starting 11, he's a good option. I haven't mentioned this before, but another great wrinkle with Picklive is that you don't necessarily need to know the starting 11, because if your player doesn't start, Picklive will automatically put in the next highest rated player into your lineup for you. And then during the match, if one of your players gets subbed off, you get the guy who gets subbed on. So you don't have to worry about your players missing out, which we definitely are cognizant of for every other daily fantasy site, because it's impossible to win when you're taking zeros for players that don't play. So Picklive has figured that out, has smoothed out that concern, really makes it a little bit more user friendly, especially for the casual players. It's just wants to have a little action while they're watching the match at home. So back to Arsenal. Aaron Ramsey is a solid selection. Per Mertesacker is actually fairly decent, seeing as he gets a number of passes. Probably not going to take him here. I think Arsenal and Tottenham are going to play in a relatively high-scoring match. I could see 2-2 as a final score. When it comes down to it, the 5 from this match that we are going to be backing at Fantasy Football Backers are Christian Eriksen, Harry Kane, Alexis Sanchez, Santi Cazorla, and Mesut Ozil. We think those 5 guys are pretty strong plays. There are some other, Dembele's up there, but those are the 5 we're going to roll with. Moving on to the Merseyside Derby, we've got Everton hosting Liverpool at Goodison Park. We're going to go a little more quickly through these now that we've described a little bit of our strategy and how we're attacking the Picklive format. So holding midfielders, attacking midfielders, some forwards if they see a good portion of the ball, defenders occasionally, keepers we're not seeing enough upside in there. You can get 30 or 40 points, but there's no bonus for clean sheets or wins. So saves are going to have to happen, and those are hard to predict. Or goal kicks and stuff like that are worth a point. But for the most part, what we're seeing is goalkeepers are not going to be competitive with the holding midfielders, attacking midfielders, guys that are on the ball consistently. So for Everton, the two midfielders that we like are Gareth Barry and Mohamed Basic. Ross Barkley is certainly an option, and he might be a better option, but we are not certain he's going to be starting. Like we mentioned with the Picklive format, you could put him in, and then I think you would pivot to Basic if Barkley was not in the 11. On the Liverpool side, Raheem Sterling is just playing fantastic football right now. He's a good play in the Picklive format. Philip Coutinho has also been outstanding for them. They both scored midweek in the FA Cup replay, and the 5th and final player we are going to choose is Jordan Henderson. He sends in a lot of crosses, which are worth 3 points. A lot of passes completed, and he's creating some chances, so he could end up with an assist or maybe even a goal. So those are our 5: Basic, Barry, Sterling, Coutinho, and Henderson. Heading to Sunday, we've got 3 matches Sunday. The first one is from Turf Moor with Burnley against West Brom. These are 2 fairly evenly matched squads, and with relegation on the horizon, both these squads want to distance themselves from the bottom 3 as much as possible. So this is a huge match for both squads. Burnley in particular, because they can't afford to not pick up points when they're at home, because their away form has been pretty poor. On the Burnley side, we're gonna go with our striker Danny Ings. He's fairly clear-cut the top player for Burnley. He struggled last week. Sean Dyche said that he was a little bit distracted from all the talk of Liverpool buying him during the transfer window. That didn't come to pass. He's going to be at Burnley the rest of the season, and he's going to do what he can to help them avoid relegation, knowing full well that he'll probably be gone this summer to a bigger club. But that would be helpful for him, and certainly be well appreciated by the Burnley supporters if he can help them avoid that. I think he'll get back on track here against West Brom. Tony Pulis's defense was certainly improving, but I like Ings, and he can do enough other things to get you some points. Danny Jones is a solid midfielder for Burnley. He's more of just a holding midfielder, just piles up the passes. He's the exact type of guy that, he's not particularly exciting, but he'll get you some points in Picklive. And Kieran Trippier, the defender that loves to get forward in the attack for Burnley. I think that this is going to be an interesting match where they're going to be dancing around each other a little bit. They're probably going to be passing it back and forth. Trippier will get some cheap points that way. He also sends in a lot of crosses, and he could get an assist and just be involved in the attack enough to justify including him in your 5. West Brom, not a ton of options here. We're going to use Saido Berahino. He's been struggling, but Burnley give up the second most goals in the Premier League, and despite being at home, they're still not that dominant of a side defensively. Berahino is slightly out of form, but always just a nice quick goal away from getting back in there. So we're not gonna worry too much about that. We'll include him in our 5 for this match, and then Morrison, the midfielder, we are also going to use. He's the top passer on West Brom. Doesn't do a whole lot, very exciting, but definitely usable in this format. And those are our 5: Ings, Jones, Trippier, Berahino, and Morrison. Moving on to the middle match Sunday from St. James Stadium is Newcastle against Stoke. Newcastle finally was able to get a victory for John Carver, the interim manager who will be finishing out the season in Newcastle. They look a little bit better against Hull, but they're still not that strong a side. This is a big match for them to solidify themselves in the middle table and avoid even really concerning themselves with relegation. If they can get some points in matches like this, they won't have much to worry about. We're going to load up on the Newcastle side here. They're slight favorites at home, but really they just fit the format much better than Stoke does. Starting with Jack Colback, he is the top passer on Newcastle, like we mentioned, the completed passes are just they're driving the Picklive game, and Colback is a great option for that. Daryl Janmaat, the Dutch national, who is one of the top attacking defenders in the Premier League. He should have a lot of options getting forward, being involved in the attack. We really like him this week. We've got Sissoko, one of the most creative and dangerous players on Newcastle, along with Remy Cabella, who is the French national. Those two guys are really capable of scoring, also getting some passes, crosses, scoring points in different ways, taking some shots. Newcastle is going to be dangerous. I think that this is going to be a very difficult match for Stoke away from home. The one player that we're looking at from Stoke is Glenn Whelan. He's one of those holding midfielders, top passer on Stoke. Victor Moses isn't quite there yet. Hasn't been scoring a lot of Picklive points, so can't really choose him this week. So we'll go with Glenn Whelan, and we're going to go with 4 Newcastle players and see how that goes. Last match we're going to look at here is the match that will be closing out Game Week 24. That is West Ham against Manchester United from Upton Park. West Ham has been struggling lately, and odds makers actually have them as a significant underdog here at home against United. And they're now going to be missing Andy Carroll and possibly Diafra Sakho as well. He's had some issues with the Senegal national team, has some back problems. Seems to be that West Ham is playing it safe and resting him, which leaves Enner Valencia as a lone striker and should make Stuart Downing a bit more of an attacking mid rather than a facilitator. So we're going to take Downing. We're going to take Enner Valencia. Those are going to be our 2 options from West Ham. We'll fill out our team with some United players. In this format, Robin van Persie and Radamel Falcao are actually not the best. If they score goals, sure, they're gonna be valuable, but we're not able to predict who exactly is going to score goals. We want the guys that are getting peripheral points from crosses, from passes. Um, for United, that is Wayne Rooney. He's their engine, and he's just a beautiful player in this format. Um, Marcos Rojo actually has been playing well the past few weeks and has earned his way back into the side. Scored a goal this week, midweek in the FA Cup against Cambridge United, and has been averaging over 70 passes, completed passes a game the past two matches he's been in. So he fits his format perfectly. Not sure if other people will be on Rojo, so that might be a nice differential. And last, we're going to look at Daley Blind. He had two assists in his last match. He's fully fit finally, and Louis Van Gaal loves him. So he's got his Dutch countryman, and Blind has been very solid since he's been back. Works well in this format, and we're going to select Blind as well. So that wraps it up for Game Week 24 on Picklive. If you haven't played yet, highly recommend you finding a game where you're going to be home that you can sit and watch. Make your substitutions. Have Picklive make the other substitutions automatically for you. Take it easy. Enjoy yourself. Have a little gamble and see if these picks come through for you. Best of luck, and see you next week.